Perfect. So today we're gonna be talking about phone script and objection handling. Okay, when we come, I know that some of you guys would like to just focus on live transfers, telesales, and then we have some people they wanted to lean towards Facebook leads in person and local, which I love both sides. Both sides has their own pros and cons. I don't want to go into details, but let's go ahead and dive into it. I do need a volunteer to role play, so whoever. Without Sam. Sam, I don't want you to be the volunteer or Carl. We always talk on this show. So
You pick, Rang, you
I just
pick.
wanted to say I'm gonna give you guys 5 seconds and nobody unmutes themselves. I'm gonna pick myself. So
And before you unmute, if you unmute or if Rang picks your name, you gotta turn your camera on.
I love
So and regardless, I think every single one of you guys should turn the camera on unless you're driving or in a position that you cannot turn your camera on, especially ladies. But you know, um, if you're driving, guys, I understand, or you're sick, that's fine. But other than that, please turn your cameras on.
Yes, sir. Awesome, awesome. So, well, you guys' time is up. So let's pick here. Vanessa, my girl, how have you been?
Good, but can I not turn my camera on?
If you are in a position, that will be great so I can see your beautiful face again after so long.
I know, thank you.
Okay, girl. It's gonna be me and you today, okay? So
I knew you were gonna pick me. I felt it.
there you go. Okie dokie. Now let's go ahead and do this, and we're gonna make it very simple, okay? We're not gonna put the weight on you, Vanessa. I'm gonna be the agent, you be the client. It's just a basic lead, a Facebook lead that that I'm gonna receive from you. And I'm going to go ahead and call you. For those of you guys that don't know how Facebook leads are generated, so basically for final expenses, they target like a certain age. It can be from 50 to 80 or 50 and then 65 plus can be 85, but you can pretty much, if you're running your own campaign, of course you can choose your own what age category you want to range within. But other than that, how leads, this is a very important part is that and this is an important, suggestion. I would say that whenever you guys do receive a lead, you want to call that lead within 5 minutes. Why is that? Because it's fresh. They just filled it out. They are by their phone, so chances of them picking up the phone, it's more. It's a lot higher, basically, to get a hold of people. So make sure you call them right away. So Vanessa, I'm just gonna start with ringing on the phone. So ring ring.
Hello?
Hello, Vanessa.
Yes.
Hey Vanessa, this is Rangina. I am reaching out to you in regards to a form that you had filled out on Facebook regarding the final state approved final expense insurance to take care of the burial or cremation, which you put your favorite hobby as sports. Does that ring a bell, Vanessa?
Yes, it does.
Okay, perfect. Well, the reason of my call was to confirm the information, making sure we have everything correct. Let me just make sure, Vanessa, I see that you wanted to leave everything behind to your daughter. So is she's gonna be the person that you wanted to basically cover, is that correct?
Yes,
And
that's
her
correct.
name, awesome, and her name is Mary?
Yes, that's her name.
Perfect. Awesome. Awesome. Vanessa, you put here also on the form that your date of birth is June the 4th, 1963. Is that accurate?
Yes, ma'am.
Very good. Now, Vanessa, are you currently married, single, divorced?
Single.
Single. Okay, no worries. Perfect. So this is, just to take care of the burial expense for yourself, no other significant other.
Correct.
Okay, very good. And Vanessa, are you currently working, retired, or on disability, just like most of our clients are?
Retired.
Retired. Okay, very good, Vanessa. Now, just so you know, as probably you read through the, ads online on Facebook that these plans are state regulated, non-medical. This is important for you to understand is that because there will be no medical question, I'm sorry, no medical exams needed, no blood draw or, a pee in a cup, nothing like that is involved. Okay, which is the process is very simple as far as my job as an underwriter is to just go over the qualifying question just to kind of determine what you may qualify for and answer any questions you may have as well. Okay. Now, here's the thing, Vanessa. I will be actually in the area tomorrow as well as on Wednesday, helping about 10 to 15 families. I wouldn't have a ton of opening available, or I would say availability, but I can definitely squeeze you between my appointments. So Vanessa, since you mentioned you are retired, do you have any doctor's appointment going on tomorrow or on Wednesday?
No, I'm free tomorrow. I do on Wednesday.
Okay, very good. Would you prefer a morning or afternoon?
Morning.
Morning. Okay, great. So I'm gonna go ahead and put you on my schedule here between 10 to 10:30. Would that work for you?
Yes, but what's this about?
And this is about the final expense request that you had sent in to take care of the burial or cremation, if you remember, Vanessa.
Oh, okay.
So I'm just
Yes.
gonna go over the information with you and see what you may qualify for. And I promise I'm gonna answer any questions you may have as well. Okay, so I have you put on my schedule
Okay.
between 10 to 10:30. Could you do me a favor and put that on your calendar as well with my name on it?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, very good. Well, my name is Rangina. It's gonna be for tomorrow, February the 11th. Put it on your calendar, put it, somewhere in front of you so you know, and then put final expense so you know at least what this is about, okay? So when I get there,
Okay.
you're not surprised, okay? And
Okay,
Vanessa,
gotcha.
is there any reason, any particular reason that you're not gonna be home tomorrow between 10 to 10:30?
No, I'll be here.
Okay, very good. And is there any parking instructions for me? Like any, do you want me to drive, park in driveway on the streets, or is there any gated gates I need to be aware of?
There's a gate.
There's a gate. Is there a code, or do I need to call you, text you, or are you going to give that to me right now?
Could you just call me?
Absolutely, I can. This is a good phone number to reach out when I get there.
Yes.
Okay, great. Vanessa, hey, I appreciate your time. I do have you down here for tomorrow again on Tuesday, February the 11th between 10 to 10:30. My name is Rangina. Okay, that's Rangina. Okay. I will have my state license with me so that way you don't just let anybody in your house. And I'm looking forward to help you out tomorrow. You enjoy the rest of your day, Vanessa. Talk to you tomorrow.
Okay, perfect. Sounds good.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Okay, perfect. So any questions before I kind of break it through, break it down? I mean, this was like a nice lady, no really objection, nothing at all, right? So you guys could see the flow of the conversation basically. But of course, we're gonna be talking about some objection as well. But overall, any questions, any comments?
I tried to object by not giving you the code.
Yep. Awesome. So, I mean, that's like, it's okay. Those kind of things, like, I know that when I get there, I'm gonna either call this person, I'm gonna wait 10 minutes, 15 minutes till I get someone to open up the door. But most important is that I have that scheduled, right? So
Yeah.
here's what I also do, and this is, something that works for me, is I basically when I schedule an appointment, I put it on my calendar, the name of the person and on the address of the person. I put it already on my calendar, so like click 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 click, I'm going to my next appointment through, I don't have to like enter it on my map. And what I also do, I actually mark it down like how solid my appointment has been booked. So if my appointment like with Vanessa, for me this was like a good 5, so it was a good solid appointment. I made her write down, we went through everything basically. She told me she's looking something for her daughter and things like that. But I give it a 5 because she wasn't in a rush. I asked her if she has any reason not to be there, things like that. So I give it a 5. But if something is like anything that any appointment I book that is in a rush, I give it like maybe 1 or 2. So depending on the quality of my appointments has been booked, I give it, I give it numbers. That way I kind of understand in back of my head how I booked my appointment and kind of review it basically. But any comment or anything that you guys want to go over or no?
So like if you schedule one that you think is a 1 or a 2, would you backdoor an appointment like right at that time or just to be safe?
Good question. I love it. Yes. So for an example, if my appointment is at 1, I always try to book my next appointment the 30 minutes afterwards. So here's what I do. I'm glad you mentioned that. Here's what I usually did when booking scheduling appointment. I book, for an example, just say my day start at 9 a.m., right? I book 9. The next appointment is always at 10. Like I always give 1 hour. But I always tell clients I give them a 15-minute to 30 minutes window. I told her between 10 to 10:30. So if I'm early or late, she would understand it, if that makes sense. So I book like an hour, give an hour window between each of our appointment. But as to specifically answer your question, Vanessa, is that if my appointment is just say 1, I always book it like 30 minutes, every 30 minutes. So if it's 10, I book it 10:30. If it is, 10:30, my next appointment is solid, I book it at 11:30. Does that make sense? So if I get a no-show or whatever it might be, then I know that, okay, I'm going to my next appointment. Make sense?
Yes.
Awesome. So let me go ahead and break it down to you guys, okay? A couple things that it seems so like simple, going with the flow, which is great, that's what you're gonna do. We have in the back office, if you guys go under the learning tab in the back office under Facebook script, you guys will be able to see objection handling, and also you will be able to have access to the phone script. So make sure you do that, okay? Couple suggestions when you're actually, phone script is something that it's just your job is to book appointment. It's nothing a script, but we have that just for you to stay organized, for you to stay on top, what to say, what not to say over the phone. So number 1, you want to keep it very short and brief. Number 2, your tonality, very important. They say the first impression is always their last impression. So how, the way you open up that conversation is very important, because if someone is like, you get a lot of hang-ups, it means you're doing something wrong from the beginning. So make sure you have the right posture, you have the right tonality throughout your conversation. Your tonality should stay this. It shouldn't go up, it shouldn't go down. But if someone is, in a rush, you want to be a little bit in a rush too. But if someone is, but your tonality is still the same. But if someone is like slow, because you will be dealing with a lot of seniors, a ton of people that are on disability, they might have health issues and things like that. So be more clear, be more, be very, what do you say? Be more clear and slow. This is something that I have always struggled. Like I'm a fast talker. So I'm like, ooh, I need to back up. I need to be more, like slower. So that's very important. And then really like organizing what you're saying. Like think about it. Like they have filled out the form. All you got to do is really like, I mean, human nature, right? This is something that I have been through. I know that most of you guys have been through or will go through is you're just afraid of calling them. Like, I know it's crazy. I don't know why is that, but pick up the phone. They filled out the form. You got to understand your job is to service them, to help them out. Because every lead is a family that's waiting for you to be helped. Okay? So when you pick up the phone, think about this way that and assume that, okay, you're going to help this person out. So all you really got to do is really, what I did is nothing, crazy, nothing special. All I really did is confirming their information that they put on the lead, and then book the appointment and cementing the appointment. So let's go from the very start. So the opening is very important. When I say hello, Vanessa, like I'm like question mark. If I have a lady's name on my form and a lady picks up, I assume straight away, like this is, you know, the lead, this is the prospect, right? So if a guy picks up, I'm like, hello, can I speak to Vanessa? So tonality and posture, very important. Hello, Vanessa. I wait till they say yes to me. Hey, Vanessa, this is Rangina. I'm reaching out to you regarding the state, you know, the form that you filled out. So what I did here, I confirm who that person is on the phone, because you don't want to talk to the second person other than the lead. Never make that mistake. The second thing what I did is I told them who I am. Very important. Of course, if someone calls you, you want to know who that person is. So next thing, I tell them who I am. The third process is letting them know why you're calling, who you are, why you're calling. And then the next thing, you want to confirm the information. You want to confirm all the information. Oh, I think now I'm saying that, I feel like I missed confirming their address, which is the most important part of the conversation, of course. But I didn't have a lead in front of me. I didn't have any script in front of me. So you always want to have that, of course. But anywho, you want to confirm the information. Now, confirming information, remember, you want to confirm all the information you know that's going to be correct. Their beneficiary, their beneficiary's name, their age or their date of birth, the hobby that they put, and their address. So you want to get them used to say yes to you. Psychological. This is very important. You want to get them used to say yes to you, so that when you get to booking, they already have that in their mind, that yes, 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 yes. So it's easier for you to book the appointment. And then the fifth thing, you want to clear their schedule. What did I do by clearing their schedule? Can someone unmute themselves and let me know? What did I do to clear their schedule?
Eliminate excuses.
Yes.
Asked about their, like, if they have any appointments or
Status, right? So correct. Thank you. So
uh,
yes, Sam.
yeah, the objection that, hey, yeah, no, that time doesn't work for me. So basically, avoid that objection up front.
All of that correct. All of them correct. What I did is I actually confirmed their status. If they're working, if they're retired, if they are, you know, disabled. And then I asked if she said that she is retired, I asked already ahead of time, like, okay, if you're retired, then do you have any doctor's appointment? Do you have anything going on the next day? I will be in your area these days. So I already cleared your schedule. Like these small things do matter, because what I believe in, like people ask me, like, how do you handle objection? You have to handle that upfront. Overcome the objection before it becomes an objection, right? Handle that up front. So those little things does matter. So if I'm clearing their schedule already, but if say there's three scenarios, either they're working. So if they're working, the next question will be like, okay, perfect. Are you a 9 to 5? Do you work 9 to 5, or is it like, your schedule varies? Because I want to clear their schedule out before I give them my schedule. You don't want to be one of those people like desperate for a sale and you're like, oh, I have this time and I have this date. And they're like, no, I'm working or I'm busy. I have appointment, this and that. And you're like, boom, okay, I have this time as well. You don't want to be one of those people. Be very professional about it and respect your time and their time. Okay. So I'm clearing their schedule by knowing if they're working. I'm like, okay, what time you get home on Tuesday? I want to understand that if there are, what their schedule looks like, so I can give them my availability. Does that make sense? And then the second thing is if they say retired or disabled, doesn't matter. The next thing I do want to ask is making sure if they have any doctor's appointment, anything going on for that day that I will be visiting. And then I give them time slots. I never give them, they love to have, like, if you be like, okay, I'll be in your area tomorrow at 10. In the back of their head, they're like, gosh, she's like forcing me. But if I give them A, B, C, They love to be in control and choose an option. So remember, nobody wants to be sold. Let them sell themselves to you. So you want to give them options. So that's why when I tell, I clear their schedule out, right? The fifth part. The second part, the sixth part is that I'm also asking, if they're retired. I'll get into that, but let me go ahead and clearing their schedule. Now I'm giving them if mornings work better or afternoons. I have had clients that, they're in pain, they can't sleep throughout the night, or I get a lead at 3 a.m. I would know 100% like this person is not an early bird. So I give them both time slots just to make sure that both, if whichever it's going to be comfortable for them. So they can choose either morning is better or afternoon. I'm not telling them, I'm letting them choose it. Does that make sense? And then the second thing is that if they choose Monday, like mornings or afternoon, I still give them option. Like I'm letting them drive. I'm letting them, think they're in control, which they love that. So I still give them 3 options or 2 options, most likely 2 options, I would say. Like if they choose morning, I still give them like, hey, I have 10 or I have, like 11:30. Afternoon, the same thing. So giving options is very important as well, letting them choose, okay? And the other thing is very important, 7th part is this is very, very important, is you never want to sit down with a one leg person. You do want to ask if they're married, you want to ask, or single. This is very important because you don't want to be one of those people sitting down, going through the conversation. They're like, oh, you know what? I'm going to talk to my spouse. Like, dang it, I should have known better. Make sure over the phone, you ask them if they are married or not. So that way, if they're single, great. You got this. If they are married, you want to ask same questions about availability about their spouse. So that way you have both of them present, because one of the biggest objection that you can have, I mean, talking to kids is no big deal, but talking to a spouse can be a very big deal. And I never book an appointment that's, one-legged. So even if, for whatever reason, I forget to ask them over the phone when I get there, if, they have a spouse that's not there, I'm like, hey, with all due respect to, to make sure we must save both our time, because I don't want to go over all this information together and then you have to, go over this again with your spouse, which is gonna, you might miss something. So I want to make sure I explain this together for both of you. So I reschedule that appointment. I have done that before. So make sure you ask that question. Let's talk about cementing the appointment. Okay. Couple things I did by cementing appointment. Number 1 is I remind them before I get them off the phone. I remind them a minimum of 2 to 3 times when our appointment is and what time, what day. Like I constantly like repeating myself, like, okay, I will see you this day, or write it down. So reminding them 2 to 3 times when the appointment is, even if they forget what the appointment was for, at least they'll remember that somebody's coming to my house, or, like they'll remember that something is going on this day, this time. Second thing, what you want to do is cementing appointment. There's another way, is have them write down. Couple things you can have them write down, either just your name. You can have your name and your state license number, but and the timing, very important, or the reason of the appointment. So it's very important to write a couple things down. It's because they will remember it better. And it's human nature. If we write things down, we tend to remember more. So third thing, what I did, I told this person, I told Vanessa that, hey, is there any parking instruction? I'm eliminating for them to say, oh, I thought this is a phone interview. I asked about the gate. You can ask about any apartments. You can ask about big dogs. You can ask, where to park. Anything that you can cement the appointment, making sure they understand clearly that you will be there in person. This is not a phone appointment. Does that make sense, y'all?
That makes a lot of sense, actually.
Absolutely. Any questions you guys may have regarding the phone script before we get into objections? Okay, well, I hope you guys did understand. I mean, one of the two things happened when nobody has any questions. I always feel like either I'm a really good teacher, they understood everything, or I'm a really bad teacher that they have no idea what they have to ask for. But I hope it's the first option. Okie dokie. Now let's dive into objections. Okay. What I want to do is that you do not have to unmute yourself. We have a lot of shy people here, but you can just put it on the chat. If any objection you can think of, you might get over the phone only. We're not talking about presenting at home only phone objection. So you want to unmute, you're most welcome, or you want to put it on the chat, go for it. But I want to hear from you guys what objection you guys have dealt with, or you might have deal with, and things that's going on in your mind. So go for it. I don't want to be the only one talking.
Do we type it or do we say it?
Yeah. No, you can unmute Vanessa, or you can type it, whichever it's easier for you guys. So you want to do.
What if they say somebody already came over this year or something like that?
Great. I love that. Oh, awesome. You know why I love that? Is if they already have insurance, I don't have to resell them on the value of insurance. They already know. So it's easier for me. Okay, great, Vanessa. I'm glad they did, and that's exactly what I'm calling for, Vanessa, is because every couple months our plans do changes through the state of Idaho. So we just want to make sure that you're updated with everything. So does a morning time work better for you or afternoon? I don't go into details. That's the worst thing you can do. When you're handling the objection, perfect. That's the reason of my call. That's the best thing you can start with. Any objection you can get, perfect. That's exactly what I'm calling for. I mean, you don't have to make it a big deal. Objection is for them to see how you react. That's all. So I don't make it a big deal. I don't go into details. I make it very brief, sweet, and then without any awkward silence, boom, I go back into closing it where I left off. So perfect. Good question. Good objection. Go for it, Sam.
Of course, I want to kind of it's great to hear from different perspective or how people differently, handle the objection. And the great thing about this in this business is I might do it different than Rang is gonna do different than Carl, but guess what? All of us are gonna get that appointment. It works for all of us. We might say different stuff. First of all, I love it when people say I have already that it taken care of that or somebody already took care of it for me. It's because it means they're buyers, so they want it and they see the value in it. So I automatically assume if I can better the situation, they're gonna get it. So I say perfect. The key word here always after any objection, try it. You would be surprised how good it works. Perfect. That's exactly why I'm calling. Perfect. That's the reason why I'm calling. So now what that does, it's gonna get them to listen to you. Oh, what is the reason? Oh, that's the reason. Oh, I have it taken care of, and that's why he's calling. So that automatically turns the table to for them to listen to you. Perfect. That's exactly the reason I'm calling you, John or Mary, depending on who you're talking to. Then the way I handle that part is, I tell them, great, that's the reason why I'm calling, John. These plan, as Ryan said, these plan do change, every couple months or so. We want to make sure we stop by and review the policy to make sure you're not overpaying for your insurance. And if there's anything that we can do to better your situation, by all means, it's gonna be either you're overpaying for insurance or make sure you're not underinsured, and we'll be on our way. You kind of tell them to make sure they're not underinsured or overinsured or overpaying for their insurance, and you will be on your way. You're the underwriting trying to help sure and make sure they have the right plan. Pretty much, that's what I do.
Absolutely love it. Thanks, Sam.
Also, Rangine, I just wanted to point out that If someone tells me that they just had an appointment, that they spoke with someone, in my mind, I'm like, well, why didn't you buy a policy? I'm not going to tell that client that, but in my mind, I'm like, why didn't you buy a policy? And I automatically go to this must be a captive agent who works for one insurance company who only can go with the underwriting guidelines of that particular company. And so, because I'm a professional and because I know what my competition does, because I know the business, my first mindset is that, because I'm a professional and I'm licensed with 30 agents, 30 different carriers, although I may only use 4 or 5 carriers, you know, I'm licensed with 30 carriers and I'm letting this particular client know because they done spoke to probably 1,000 of us, of us agents. But how many professionals have they spoken with? And so when you start letting them know, I can provide you with options, Rangina. I can provide you with options, Vanessa. Then all of a sudden there's a little light bulb that go off in their head. So that okay, what do you have to offer me, Carl? And then I move. If it's a call like where I'm going in field, it's a different way you guys focus, and I'm seeing that through Rangina. So I still continue on with my mission, my flow to lock down this appointment. And they're going to be wanting to listen to you because they've already spoken to Carl, who's captive with ABC Company, and all I can do is just ABC Company rules and guidelines. So being a professional allows you to be a professional at the time the client needs to hear this, because otherwise they're going to think you're just one hit wonder. Back on mute.
Absolutely, absolutely. Awesome. Any other objection you guys may have? Just put it on the chat, or I don't know. Do we have anything on the chat, Sam? If you can help me out.
No, we do not.
Okay, no worries. So a couple main objection. Let me just make it simple. Okay, so we save time here. Couple main objection, and please, anybody that wanna unmute if I miss any part. But a couple main objection you really get over the phone. It just everything is gonna be repetitive later down the road. So if you get pro as fast as possible with these objection handling, I mean, you're good. I know top producers that they always have their script and their objection right in front of them, which is okay. You're gonna be so much comfortable if you have that in front of you. Go for it. You don't have to be perfect. Nobody is. So just have those in front of you. We have already built that for you. All you gotta do is really read it out. Right. But anywho, let's start with just say someone you call, they're like, oh, you know what, I already you know what, I'm not interested, I already have this taken care of. I love that. Okay, great. Perfect. Well, Mary, most of the people fill out multiple forms just to make sure, either they want to shop around or they want to make sure that they can leave some extra money behind to their family. So which one are you? Two things can happen if someone tells you that they already got it taken care of. I'm not, I acknowledge it, but I don't really focus on it. I'm just giving them options back to make them think, right? Like either people fill out multiple forms to make sure that they're not overpaying for insurance and they're shopping around to get something better, or they would like to add more coverage since everything is going up in price. They just want to make sure that they leave some extra money behind for the family. So which one are you? I'm letting them talk now. Makes sense? And then the second objection I would say that you might get is, you know what, call me later, I'm busy. That's one thing that they might tell you. Perfect, no problem. I'm being busy. I totally understand. I have, multiple, I have a busy schedule myself as well, but I know how important this is for you, John, is to take care of this, is just to make sure, sorry, I was just reading a text message, my bad. I thought I'm a multitasker, but anywho, so if someone tells me that, I'm busy, call me later. Hey, no problem. Being busy is understandable, John. I will be actually in your area tomorrow and also afternoon dropping off, packages to the family. So are you currently working or retired? I'm like clearing the schedule. I'm being fast as well. I'm like, oh, you know what? I'm working. Okay, great. Do you typically get home in the evening time or your schedule varies? No, I'll be home around 6. Okay, well, I can drop all this information tomorrow between 6:30 and 7. Is there any reason you wouldn't be home tomorrow? So I'm like rushing through the scheduling as well. And this is going to be a 1 or 2 for me, right? It's not beginning a solid appointment, but I'm like, I know already that they will be home at least from work. Does that make sense? So I just booked the appointment. Boom, get off the phone. But you don't want to really majority of the time you don't want to really do is that be on the phone giving them quotes, giving them this, giving them that, or talking about presenting it as if like you're at home with them. No, your job is simply book, confirming the information, booking the appointment, and that's pretty much it, and letting them go. So you shouldn't be taking too long, more than 2 minutes. 1.5 to 2 minutes is the maximum you want to be on the phone with them to book the appointment. The third objection, I would say, what do you think, Sam? I had something in mind and I missed it.
I was thinking of the objection that, hey, yeah, I don't want anybody at my home. Can you do it over the phone?
Yeah, absolutely, we can. That is no problem. But just so you know, Sam, these plans are non-medical, so the state does not require any kind of medical exam. But they do have a qualifying period that they have to go through. I have to verify your identity, making sure that you're not you are who you're saying you are, and then also making sure that you're not overweight in a wheelchair and things, and or bedridden and things like that. So it wouldn't take too much of your time. It will be a quick 7 to 10 minutes. I don't have to come inside the house. We can definitely get that done over on the porch. So does morning times work better for you, Sam, or afternoon time?
Perfect.
Awesome.
And that works perfectly fine. And the funny part is about that, or the way I say it is pretty much the same thing, but my point is different. But I will add what I say so I can continue from there. So I tell them, hey, perfect. Yeah, no, not a problem at all. It is non-medical, so there is no nursing and nurse or anybody to come out. But however, we need to make sure we're talking to the right person and to prevent insurance fraud. To make sure you're not, or the person who fill out the form is the one who's asking for insurance, not on anybody else's name, and to identify, to make sure we kind of identify we're talking to the right person. We're going to check the ID. I'll do it in front of the house. And if we need to continue, I will sit in my car and continue. That's not a problem. I tell them that almost always 95% of the times you go and they're going to not remember and let you inside the house. They just want to make sure and nobody comes in to see them. It's just how they throw an objection. But I've never had this happen to me, literally not even once, that they kick me out of their house. No, I don't want to just, here's my ID, go do it from the car. Nobody does that.
Correct. And I remember, I'm glad you mentioned that, Sam. I remember.
Good luck, Vanessa.
Yeah, I remember this client, Miss Edith Smith.
Thank you.
She was actually in Lancaster. I remember her, texting me. She called me actually. Here's the thing: what I never did is I never picked up my phone after I have booked appointments. Right? If I don't recognize the phone, I let it go to voicemail or have them text me. So that way, if it's my appointment that actually cancels on me, I never pick up. Right? So if they text me or if they send me a voicemail stating that they want to cancel the appointment, guess what? I'm gonna show up. 100% of the time, I am going to be there. So I remember Miss Edith Smith here in Lancaster. She, right before I was on my way to her house, and right before her appointment, she called me multiple times. I didn't answer, so she left me a voicemail stating that she wanted to cancel the appointment. She didn't want it. Blah blah blah. I was like, great, I'm gonna be there. So I showed up to her house, and the worst part was that her apartment number had changed and she did not mention to me over the phone. And then I asked a couple ladies that were there. So I got, long story short, I got to her appointment. I got inside, And guess what? She didn't even talk about canceling the appointment. She didn't talk about anything at all. And she had called me about 1.5 years ago again to get another policy. So, I mean, she's the sweetest lady, you can ever meet. The thing is that the very interesting part, and I'm sure Sam and Sandra, you guys have done more in-person appointments. The interesting part is that most of the time, believe it or not, the craziest, the meanest people over the phone can be the sweetest in person. And it has happened so many times to me that they can be so mean, they can be so crazy. And then when you meet them in person, they see you how you are, and you really go through the process and things like that. They're like the sweetest person ever. So it's very important for you to really have patience, to really make sure you understand where they're coming from. They don't know you. Don't take anything personal. If they say something crazy or, whatever, they do something crazy, don't take it personal. Like, your emotions, put that in the back.
And
Don't.
you know why that is? Why these seniors can sound rude over the phone? Anybody want to guess?
Yeah, they get
They
a
get.
bunch of calls every day.
100,000%. And unfortunately,
For one of them.
no, 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 no. We're not the ones who. But what I was trying to say, unfortunately, a bunch of scammers call them, try to, hey, yeah, I'm calling from Apple, I'm calling from Amazon, I'm calling from this or that. If I get quite a few calls a day, seniors get targeted more, and we all know that.
Mhm.
Unfortunately, they get in front of me. Try it in the field. You sit down. While you're there for 1.5 hours, they will receive. They will at least receive 5 calls. In an hour. So they get at least 20 calls a day, 15 calls a day, some of them 40 calls a day. So they don't know who you are, but they up right when they pick up, hello, you say, "Hi, yeah, I'm calling." They're like, I don't want to just call. That's why they get fed up receiving those amount of calls. But when you see them in person, I've had a client tell me that, I'm sorry I was so mean. When I told them, yeah, no, I called you over the phone. I actually, this and that. They said, I'm so sorry that I did that to you. I received a bunch of calls. I thought you're one of them. So you never know. Or some of them, yeah, no, I just had a fight with my husband. I've gone through all of them. Hey, yeah, I thought you're a scammer. I thought, yeah, I was just, I had a fight with my husband. Yeah, I was just too tired. You don't know how their days are going, so don't take it personal. It's just, same person. Sometimes you call them next day, they're gonna be nice and let you book an appointment with you. It's just they're gonna be in different moods. They're human people, human. So
Exactly.
yeah.
Exactly. And it's funny, for me, I'm very stubborn, so I don't take no for an answer. Never. I remember I was doing a field training with an agent, Sam, what was her name? Linda. I was actually doing a field training with Linda a couple years ago. So we went to this, our first appointment. So like fired up first appointment, and knocked on her door, and she opened up and then shut the door on our face. I was like, okay, this is gonna be fun, because I love when I do field trainings. I love people seeing, I love the agent seeing like different type of, scenarios. So that way they're prepared for it, right? So I was like, okay, this is fun. I knocked again. And then she was like, go away. I don't want to talk. I don't want to do this, blah, blah, blah. I was like, hey, listen, do you even know, Miss blah, blah, blah? Do you even know what I'm here for? I'm here for our appointment. It's like, I don't want it. I was like, okay. I waited a couple seconds, and then I knocked again. And she came out. She was like, what do you want? I was like, hey, Miss Linda, I'm not sure what's going on. You might be going through a rough day. It's totally okay. I know how this is important to you, Miss Linda. This is to take care of final expense. You'd mentioned over the phone you want to have your son, your daughter taken care of. So if this is not a good time, I'm here to help you out. Okay. My job is to serve you. So let's go ahead and reschedule, and we'll get this taken care of. That's no problem at all. And she calmed down. It was so interesting. Like, the thing is that you want to have a lot of patience. Okay. You are going to be dealing with a ton of seniors. So make sure you understand that can be your mom, can be your dad. They can go through, as Sam mentioned, through a rough day. So understand that it's nothing to you. Like, you are they don't know you, but as a professional, as someone that's gonna serve you, you gotta understand that, okay, now this is something that I'm gonna go through. No arguments, right? I'm just trying to solve their problem. That's it. So,
Of course, and I want to go over a story of mine. Not exactly the same, but I was field training, as well with an agent. It was back in Washington. Actually, my oldest sister, I was field training with her. She was getting into the business, and we went door knocking, with her. And as soon as we knocked on a door, and the guy came out, started cursing. Hey, get the F out of here! Get out of my property! Don't step back! It kind of pissed me off, and I turned out. I was like, "Excuse me." So like, "Yeah, get the F out of my property." I was like, "Hey, chill, chill, chill. Lower your voice." I literally said that. Lower your voice. I'm not here to sell you a vacuum or whatever. Randomly door knocking your neighborhood. And I showed the form. I was like, "You fill the form out. I'm here to help. If you don't need it, don't fill it out, and I'm not gonna stop by. And you can be more polite about it." He kind of calmed down. I was like, "Huh? I filled out a form." I was like, "Yes, you did for life insurance or final expense insurance." He's like, "Oh, okay, I'm sorry." Blah blah blah. We literally went inside the home the same day and closed it and came out.
there you go.
So you just don't have to panic. Like they might think you are not. You're a different person. They don't know why you're there. So you gotta calm down, not take it personal, and explain why you're there. It happens all the time.
Exactly. Exactly. All you got to do is really acknowledge it and move forward. You don't have to over explain yourself, because if you over explain it, you're going to mess up. And the thing is that I love this saying, and it's totally, totally true, is it's not what you say, it's how you say it. Very important. Have the right posture, have the right confidence. Very important. If you guys have no question, we'll I'll let you guys go. But if you guys do have any question, please unmute yourself. You have 5 seconds. Today is 5 second rule. So if any questions, please go ahead and unmute yourself. Okay, couple things again, just to remind you guys, make sure to do yourself a favor, okay? I love, Carl, what you always say. It's, it's not what you do 9 to 5, it's what you do 5 to 9.
Sharpening your stuff.
Sharpen your saw. I love that. And it's like, it's so deep. I always think about it like it's so true, because this is exactly what I did to get here, okay? I was always a student, like always trying to learn. Go in the back office, try to listen to podcasts or the trainings, and all these trainings. You know what? Let me just go ahead and turn this off here. Okay, there.